had been given letters and had assembled at the Elwak Stadium were to report for training, but they were given the sack. And that was during the tenure of President Mills and then the vice presidency of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I wanted to let her know about that. And if it were so, then that assertion that during Professor Mills' time, no such dismissals, withdrawals of appointments took place is not completely true.
Okay, thank you. Allow the nominee to answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I had information about that. But the issue is, in relation to employment and recruitment, I think the best person, again, to add policy, then I cannot come in.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think I have my last. Honorable.
Please go straight to the question, please.
Yes, I will. The ideal situation that we should have in the public sector is to have people appointed, recruited based on merit. People with integrity who really will work diligently. So coming to making sector, how would you navigate your way through to ensure that members of the public administration system will be satisfied, have all that it takes for them to do their job, and at the same time deliver based on these four qualities?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With those attributes, I will be looking at training or capacity building or strengthening the public institutions. I will be looking at strengthening the way we hire people into the public sector. And therefore, we should have a national dialogue on how to...
Thank you. And your follow-up, please.
My dear sister, Honorable, I said because of Sandeman, I engage your attention because I have worked in the public system throughout the greater part of my career, and I know some of the concerns of the issues. The system thinks, oh, this is how we've been going about things, this is how we've been doing it, and you've come, you want to change it and all that. When you are faced, continue that way, or you try your best to think outside the box and meet the resistance, knowing very well that the resistance could also be catastrophic to you and to the system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that brilliant, been through the public sector for almost 27 years. I have learned that there are people at the public sector, we call them MBA, they do things, they believe that you should do things the way they want you to do. That is bureaucracy. And I think that there should be communication. You communicate the goals, that the reason why you want to change. You should use innovative ways to let them understand that they need to change the way they do things. And again, you should dialogue with them. I believe if you have clear communication goals, they will understand.
On my right, Honorable Saibu, you may take the floor.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, my brother.
So, what is this monster called public sector? And what are the ills in the public sector that you are called to come and reform? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Public sector is simply that part of the economy that is controlled by government. It is institutions, service, and employees. The ill lack of or limited resources, bureaucracies, political interference, and even...
Any follow-up on that? Or?
These ills sorted out as minister if you are given the opportunity?
Thank you very much. When given the opportunity, I will go by government policy, but to my own initiative, I will engage sector services, just about local government. The Constituency 190 homework, we are going to understand, or for people to understand, that technology can help us to do away with some of the corrupt practices. Thank you very much.
Sustainability of the program. Can you tell us how impactful and sustainable? You have alluded to many ills. Tell us how sustainable and impactful that these will be.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. There's a roadmap that has started from the National Action Plan. If we go with that roadmap, I think we can achieve success. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, let me wish the nominee the very best. Thank you. The very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will go to the floor. Of the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. I have got a few questions needed. So, Honourable Nominee, I believe you know there has been significant work done by the and the key tool that has been used is through what we call e-governance or digitalization. And I'm sure you are conversant with the name when we talk about digitalization. This has led to successes like the Ghana Gov platform, as we know, the paperless, to make sure the public sector works. And it has even gone beyond the public sector, like we have the national ID and so on and so forth. Do you believe that digitalization and e-governance is indeed the way forward to transforming the public sector? Do you believe in that? And a lot of work has been done already in terms of e-governance. If you believe in it as the way to transform the public sector, what would be your own new frontiers? I want us to hear from you. Which areas, what are you going to do in terms of...
And thank you for that question. Yes, I do. I do believe that digitalization is the way to go. Yes, some work has been done. The gift mix system, the current payment system, but that is not enough. Digital platforms that has been started already. You know that there are offices or they don't even have enough computers. They don't have workable computers that you can just transfer one file to the other. So it is my responsibility to continue from where you started and make the public sector efficient, modern, and robust. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just certain departments and so on, but I wanted to understand really, like I said, we have the Ghana Gov platform, we have the paperless port system, we have the national ID, mobile, whatever, operability, and all these. What would be your own new terms of e-governance? What is on your mind?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I cannot work alone. I have to work with the communication ministry, I have to work with other government ministries and agencies, so that between agencies, ministries, and other public service officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, that's your.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. My second question. You know, there's a budget that is scheduled to be presented. Definitely is going to promote their programs for the year. Your ministry, which seeks to reform the rest of the ministries, okay, what comes to mind when you anti-items would you expect to be aligned to your reformist ministries? In your own view, what would you require to be able to sector? But in terms of focus areas, what do you expect to be allocated, to you?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, Honourable Member, know that the normally tell us how competent she is for the job that she's going to do. So let's not make it too technical, please.
Coming into a ministry, a reformist ministry, and you have a plan on your mind. I'm sure once you were called and all these plans, you would need, that is what I'm asking you, what has been on your mind, that the areas that you want to promote? I'm not saying tell us how much you want the minister to give to you or whatever. Which areas do you think, if the minister supported you through the budget reading, would help you to promote your reformist agenda? That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This question, I believe that my brother understands that my ministry is a minister of state in charge of public sector reforms. My budget is coming from the president's allocation to prosecute our programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank the minister to do a good job to anticipate all your plans and give you something to run your ministry. Really matches to what is in the budget, because you are only hoping that it's done, but at the end of the day, nothing really is allocated to support the areas that you want to use to reform the entire.
Thank you very much. I don't think that His Excellency the President John Mahama will appoint me as a minister designate and will not inform the finance minister to make allocation that is necessary for the running of the ministry. I believe that the discussions have gone on, and therefore I trust that my office or my ministry will be given.
I believe. Last question, please.
Make the difference in terms of the entire public sector. Okay. Do you believe in performance targets for every civil servant, and ensuring that their various ministries or demote or reward them or otherwise? Do you believe in such performance-based accountability for the entire civil service? Is this something that you are ready to drive?
Performance. There must be appraisals. I want to see motivation and productivity. And we should be able to reward people who are working well. And how do you reward people? You have to use appraisal system. You have to use monitoring and evaluation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a follow-up. Thank you. So how would you go about it? Where would you start from at all? It's a big space. You're telling us, given the timelines, what is your plan to get it starting and getting it working practically?
Thank you very much. We'll be looking at key performance indicators. We'll be looking at giving them a good working environment. We'll be looking at training and capacity building. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chairman, thank you very much. Madam Nominee, as you may be aware, the previous, indeed, if I recall, there was a minister also in charge of public sector reforms. Is your assurance to this committee?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think you've exhausted your questions.
Where you left off.
Yeah. Go ahead, Honorable Adia, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations, my dear. Your ministry is the public sector reform.
Public sector reform, efficiency, effectiveness, and responsive public sector service and public sector service delivery. Thank you.
My second question is, in your response to one of the questions, you mentioned GIFMIS. Some leakages, losses, and what have you. But if you go back to our districts, and the officers there will tell you, especially budget, they will tell you that unless they get a response from Accra, they will not be able to make that payment. They have to get the input from Accra. With the reform, what will you do uniquely to ensure that people in Pusiga will not be waiting for a response from Accra before they are able to input and make payment?
Thank you very much. Some of those issues could be. In my own way, we have to develop the infrastructure in such a way that things can be done through digitalization. And I want to work with the communication.
Mr. Chairman, this is a follow-up. Will you consider decentralization of the system to make sure that everything is done in the district?
Thank you very much. That is one of the pillars of the OGP that we have, and it's already in the system. And I was asked the same question, whether I would like to continue
deliberately to change the structures that are being used in some of the public sectors where you realize that, oh, maybe they are such and such a group of people, and yet where it is for now is not the best. What will you do deliberately?
Told this committee that bureaucracies have been there, but it is time that we do continuous engagement with the sectors involved so that we come to understand ourselves that things can be done differently using technology. It is easier to use technology so that we have a stakeholder engagement. We see how we can streamline things in the various agencies and the various services. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my third question, mostly being run by our women, especially petty trading across borders. You realize that the women sometimes have sales goals, and most of the ministries, you actually have the opportunity of dealing with them. I know it's under trade. What will you do to ensure that our women do not suffer the issue of stop take it, Togo and Pusiga, or Togo and Burkina, or better still, Timpani and Burkina. We know, and Togo, we know we are in Ghana, we are very close to Togo. Businesses are big, but our women do not continue suffering.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our sector ministers, it has to do with the Minister of Trade, it has to do with the Minister of Interior, it has to do with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So we'll engage, so that if there is an opportunity to engage the other countries, to streamline things and make things easier for our women.
My follow-ups of these women, as I have mentioned, I know we have Maslock, maybe we have other agencies that can support in whichever way. Will you consider discussing the issues of giving support to these women to enable them run their petty businesses?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What my sister just said is a concern to every woman in this, including my sister. Use the fact that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has promised to give us a women bank. So I will try as much as possible to engage the gender minister to see how we can help our fellow women to have something.
Mr. Chairman, as I have any question, my mantra, you see, I won't leave it. If I leave it, it will look as if I don't love you or I don't like you. Make me more popular. I will say congratulations and bye-bye.
I'll come to my left and yield the floor to Honorable Patrick Boama. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Handle your ministry. Honorable Kujo from Efia. It's a very important sector that has received a lot of funding from the World Bank. A lot. And I'm sure during your briefing, you were project which the World Bank gave the government of Ghana $35 million for some 16 very important agencies of state. I'm sure the DVLA, the Passport Office, the ministries, department agencies, to enable them achieve some basic demands from those agencies, but yet they go through some serious frustrations. That is why I believe the President has also followed the cue from President Kufuor, President Mills, that you want us to remember you for as Minister for Public Sector Reforms within a space of 4 years to have achieved during your tenure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The senior minister was taking care of the secretariat before now. I've gone to the secretariat, I've seen the work that he has done, and when I was asked this question, I answered in the affirmative that I will continue the work. Mr. Chairman, in my own way, I will go to the ministry, if approved, to follow what has some results have not been achieved, and some has partially been achieved. So in my own way, I am going to make sure that I leverage on technology so that there will be transparency in that ministry, there will be accountability, there will be open engagement of government and the civil society. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me refer you to Article 198 of the Constitution. I don't know if you have your Constitution with you. It's a very straightforward question. It says...
Honorable Member, is that a follow-up or is it a new question?
Lydia, this is my second question.
Right. I just want to be sure. Thank you.
Provided in this Constitution, this Commission shall not be the subject authority in the performance of its functions. I know you are going to be working with the Public Services Commission, and can you assure the to recruit the right persons within the public service space? Thank you.
From Honorable Dafiamapo. And I mentioned that I, going to that ministry, is going to continue the structures that are already there to go with government policy and to make sure that the areas that need to be strengthened are strengthened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We pray so, since the Chief Whip, who is the Chief Counsel for re-examination, has been very good to you. Can we look at page 2 of your CV? 1987 to 89, new job in secondary technical school, blank. And 2017 to 2020, managing director of Nyonyini Commercials Limited. Why is that space blank? Because from there you proceeded.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I went through the 5-year system, and I started my secondary school education in New Driving. I did 2 years in New Driving, and I continued in Sanima Secondary School. And then Norian Commercials. Norian Commercials is a private-owned construction company that...
Very much. I have known you since you came to Parliament, and I want to tell you, you're a very honest person that I've encountered, and I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Nominee, to proceed on the question on change, where you will be implementing certain changes that will improve government delivery, and especially to most of our deprived. Will you do to the bureaucratic, those who don't want the changes, especially the bureaucrats within the ministries? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the public services, the bureaucracy is there. It is an open secret that everybody knows that there is bureaucracy in the system. But if you want to have a change, you should engage them, because there are people who actually benefit from the bureaucratic system. They benefit from the reason why you want to change. You have to communicate your goals clearly to them. You have to orientate them. You have to take them through capacity building so that they will understand the reason why you want to change. Thank you.
I'm satisfied. My second question is, have you received any briefing by the Secretariat? And if you do, or if you did?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The challenges are many. There's a lot of paperwork that we need to understand why there's free. It's not enough. Apart from funding, the resources there are not enough for them to work. Thank you.
And paperwork. Will you consider reducing paperwork at the ministries?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes.
Thank you. Last question. Have you heard the word OGP, which is Open Government Partnership Initiative?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes.
Plan, OGP Action Plan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You look at the indicators in the action plan, and we have, and one is transparency, one is accountability, citizen participation, and technology and innovation. Thank you.
I wish you well. Thank you.
I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. I think I will come to Chief, Minority Chief Whip. Or you will that too.
Thank you very much.
Honorable nominee, I saw that you copiously made reference to the Constitution and in particular have cited Article 191 and with the permission of the Honorable Chair. So 191B shall not be or otherwise punished without just cause. Against this backdrop, we have a letter from the Chief of Staff asking that public servants who have gone through both clearances, both financial clearance, technical clearance, especially you having a background as a nurse, and 15,200 nurses, and other ones in Exim Bank, in NEIP, 11,000 teachers are being asked to go home without just cause.
Honorable, I think you came in late. This question has already been asked. So please go straight to...
But I'm only placing emphasis. And
it's been
I watched, so I know. They are not one and the same, but if chairman thinks differently. So revocation has a just cause.
Thank you very much. What I said was I will only be working there at the ministry as a matter of government policy. Thank you.
Okay, so Honorable Minority Chief Whip, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, let me join colleagues to congratulate.
Thank you.
I am enjoying your understanding and knowledge of the public sector. You realize that if you look at the post-independence and even where we had military intervention in our governance system, there have been some good implementation of the EPR, economic, all of these. What, in your estimation, is the missing link so far? The missing link?
A number of them, I'm just going to mention one. One of them is political will. As a country, we should have a dialogue so that whatever plan we have, for example, the NAP5, National Action Plan, if successive government will continue from where one starts, I believe it will help us. And we cannot just do that if we begin to think that this is Party A and Party B. Comes to the ministry, will continue from where the other one have started. Or I will. Some people are employed due to favoritism and nepotism. And some people are also there who are not supposed to be there. Thank you very much.
You spoke to dialogue. Government that have come in. So if you are speaking to dialogue as want of a better expression, a challenge.
Thank you very much. In the context of dialoguing, I want to employ all sectors of all agencies of the sectors so that we can sit down and find out the missing link. 2, government alone cannot do the reforms. We need the reforms. Thank you.
Honorable Nominee, you do know, as I also do, that very popular. Indeed popular. Then candidate who said that the 24-hour economy is optional. It's an optional policy to do or not to do. In that context, also carrying into the future that you are going to, as you define public sector reform, efficiency, effectiveness, digitalization, etc. What will be the relevant to buy into this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The 24-hour economy, His Excellency said to do or not to do. I will simply follow that policy direction. If he's going to do the 24-hour economy, it will do us good. Me and you know that we are going to employ people in the security services who will take care of us when we will take care of businesses in the night. I know you are going to tell me that, oh, we have a lot of security personnel. You will not do. It's a government policy. Like you people had your campaign message, it was your policy. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Honorable Nominee, I think we should watch some of the words. You know, you people, it's unparliamentary. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I withdraw that.
Please, Honorable, please.
Honorable Nominee, I think you are forgiven. Colleagues have forgiven you. In one of your statements, you said if, and you premise your statement that if the President, His Excellency, will implement the 24-hour economy. I find that very questionable because I know His Excellency has appointed a substantive officer at the Presidency, or you are not sure the 24-hour economy will work. Which is which?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In your submission, your first submission, you mentioned that the President said to do or not to do. So that if that I used was premised on to do or not to do. Thank you.
Please answer.
Yes, please.
Are you able to apprise us, and you have received some due briefing from your ministry, some of the important interventions you are going to ensure continuation and sustenance? Would you be glad to run us through some of them that you find important and should be sustained going forward?
Thank you very much. What I'm going to mention is captured in the National Action Plan 4 and is co-created with the National Action Plan 5. Those were the achievements in the public sector when it was being overseen by the senior activities that was done with the Passport Office, DVLA, BEFs and DEFs, just to mention a few. And again, in legal terms, some laws were also passed. I've seen a couple of things that has been done. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, on anti-corruption. apart from the effectiveness, efficiency in the public sector that we've all been desirous of seeing, the call on anti-corruption is important. We have OSP, we have Attorney General, yet, going into this office, what are you bringing to the table towards the march fighting corruption in our country? What's for?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Some of the interventions I mentioned earlier is about the use of technology and innovation. Two is about engagements provided. Thank you.
The success, do you agree to that?
Yes.
So, if you do agree, what intervention should we engage in to strengthen the dialogue between our public sector reform? Because if we reform our public sector and it doesn't cascade into our private sector reformation, it will be lopsided. So is it the case that you are not looking at it from just one angle? You're also looking at how the private sector and the public sector can both marry effectively?
Thank you very much, Mr. Without engaging the private sector. So there should be an engagement between the public sector and the private sector. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this will be my last one. Honorable Lydia, a number of interventions have started by the previous administrations in something. They intervene one way or the other. So, with the benefit of hindsight, differently.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. What I will do differently sectors.
Thank you very much, Leader. I will now engage Honorable Achampon on the 217. Same.
Leader, congratulations. I have a quick intervention. We live in a country, but nobody is talking about productivity. Do you have any plans to reorient the working class so we generated from their work?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I will let Honorable Roxanne. Honorable Roxanne, please.
Chairman.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you. I am certain that our children are watching you for months. I have no doubt you will succeed. Thank you. Now, 5. But from there have been major reforms in our public sector. And so by 2005, when President Kufuor was about to end his first term, as part of the African peer review mechanisms, an office ought to be created under the aegis of the then senior minister, if you recall. And so concrete, deliberate government policies were channeled or were implemented via that office. Now, we've had reforms, and we did online. When we were entering a university, you had to purchase the form and fill and submit. Today, it's no longer so. Your West African exams, or your results online, roll out a platform called School Placement. And so you no longer travel to your school to ask your headmaster to admit you. You were placed and then you only go for your admissions. Now, you no longer go to major reforms. I recall championed by my own professor, generally becoming smoother now, even though we still have bottlenecks. The judiciary, or lawyers receive court judgments online. As part of our rules of procedure today, a defendant or a party of the reforms when the computerization project, and that Professor months ago, the immediate sector reforms, and had the then senior secretariat is there, they are operating program between 20. Will you consider finalizing that this year under your aegis so that we can have focused and improved sector reforms, especially even Parliament? We are about to go online. Consuls have been provided. Members of Parliament now can read proceedings on their consuls, correct votes and proceedings online. And statements of colleagues can also be posted in the public sector. The only constant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes. And then NAP 3, this February. So by the end of December, or at the end of the one of the briefs that I had.
One other area within our public subsector that I think also will need your attention in terms of policy implementation is our births and deaths registry. I think it should consider erroneously records of childbirth. They are captured and certificates are produced contemporaneously. You don't have to go for weeks and months before you get the certificate for the birth of your child. With an app, when the event occurs, it's entered, it's registered online. And a certificate, amending birth certificates or date of births to cheat the system will stop. I believe if you do that, it will generate revenue in that subsector, because you recall the decision. Will you consider doing that for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes. And if you look at it currently, you can register your...
Will you consider introducing some reforms in our school feeding program so that we can monitor how they implement? A lot of issues have been raised regarding the actual impact on meals to the DA primary school in Todome, in South Dine. A simple app should be able to tell that it will cut the issues of caterers being given money to provide food, and yet they don't provide the right quantity. Circuit supervisors to tell is being delivered as intended by government or not.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes. If we are able to provide the infrastructure that will help us to monitor the school feeding and other things, it will go a long way to bring accountability and transparency in the system. Thank you.
Finally, the other feeding by or provision of food items to our secondary schools. It's a major focus of the Auditor General. And within the past couple of years, he's flagged many schools, because the center may direct that, for instance, the supplier ends up providing 60 bags of rice. Because they need the food, they are unable to reject. They hope that the shortfall of 40 bags will come. It never comes. But if you roll out some reforms in terms of an app to monitor, to track when these food items are supplied. We can check that the correct quantities are supplied and on time, and also the quality. You must have heard recently that there were issues raised by the Auditor General regarding some expired food items provided to some schools. This reform that I'm asking you to consider implementing will also check that the quality of the food, the items, the efficacy, everything, manufactured, everything will be checked. So we can have an instantaneous way of determining if anybody will want to cheat the system. You consider reviewing that system for us, won't you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said earlier, I will work with the communication minister so that we provide the infrastructure that can do that for us. Thank you.
Chairman, on this note, I want to wish my wife all the best. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief. I will now come to my left again and engage Honorable Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Chairman, I hear I'm supposed to call my wife in quotes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Lydia, adding my voice to the numerous people who have congratulated you, and I must say that I'm proud of you as an individual who, among the very few women that have been appointed, I know people are asking because, yes, and I must say that somewhere in February, sometime last week or so, you faced who questioned your suitability for the role of the Minister of State for Public Sector Reforms. Mr. Pebu argued that based on your credential, you lack the necessary experience to lead the ministry effectively. Do you think this comment stems from the patriarchal nature of Ghana? And if not, how are you going to position yourself to prove him wrong? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you in the public domain. Everybody has the right to express his or her opinion of a senior nursing officer. I have been in the public service for not less than 15 years, from the management officer. My responsibility at the ministry is to collaborate and provide leadership so that the structures at the ministry will work. The president has interacted with me. He knows my capabilities, and I reform minister. That if it is about your experience, they would have asked professors to be the president of this country because they have a lot of experience. Should have been a professor in health and not any other person. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Honorable nominee, certificate. In 2023, you paid more taxes than in 2024. If I go through your CV, you don't have any extra business. going out. What kind of information did you provide them to give you that kind of, because 23. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. What returns? So I was given a penalty to pay, and that rose the figure to that level. Thank you.
Rightly so. There's something that I normally do, and it's since you questions that I would like to ask you, my sister. Action Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. Mr. Chairman. Yes, I was part of the discussions. If you remember, I can't read all the sections in that bill, but at least I have some knowledge about the Affirmative Action Bill. And it was one of the achievements of the NAP4.
May I know what you're going to do? Because you are very much aware that so what initiatives will you push to encourage more women to take up those leadership roles?
I myself am a role model. If I give you my story, you would like to be like me. So I'm going to mentor young ladies in that ministry to become what they themselves aspire to be, and to encourage them. In the old English language, they will say the sky is the limit. But to me, there is something beyond the sky that you can go. And I will tell them so. Thank you.
That under clause 15, there's a specific activity that your sector will have to undertake to ensure the gender equity or inequality, finally. And therefore, and then also make reference to the third schedule. So, my honorable nominee, I would like to find out from you, what exactly will you be doing? Because there's a specific responsibility for you to undertake that action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned earlier, I've not been able to go through, and I cannot remember everything that is in that act. But as you have brought to my attention, I will go whatever has been provided there.
I want to bring you to speed on that. And one aspect that we are also trying as much as possible to ensure that there will be reforms in that is that what strategies will your office adopt to ensure public funds are in welfare and women and children? Thank you.
There are already programs and policies at the ministry that is also geared towards women and gender issues. And when, by God's grace, I am approved, I will make sure that I will carry on that to the latter. Thank you.
And finally, Honorable, we are very much aware of how you became an MP. And you have been found on record to indicate that you have performed far, far, far better than your predecessor. Could you please let us into what difference you have made in that respect? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carried on in my constituency. My constituency is a vast constituency. I have a lot of activities to my credit. Currently, I have 2 chiefs compounds to my credit. I have given the constituency its facelift for 1 chief's compound. I have produced 500 dual decks for the schools. I have 172 students that are supported for the past 4 years. I have helped the education office for them to run their system, because sometimes their money doesn't come early. I can go on and provide that to you on paper. Thank you very much.
And finally, Mr. Chair, listening to you, answering questions from our various, I realize that you've always been talking about the introduction of technology. But let me come from our Chief Whip in the person of Honorable Dafiamakbo. Honorable, the Akufo-Addo government started the digitalization agenda. Yet many regions in Ghana still struggle with limited access to modern digital infrastructure. What initiative will your office pursue to modernize government operations, and how will you ensure that these digital advancements benefit both the urban and the remote communities across Ghana? Thank you.
Honorable nominee, just a second. Honorable Leader, His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo continued the digitalization agenda. It has long started, and presidents contribute to it. Thank you.
Yes, duly amended. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. During one of my answers, I mentioned that digitalization is let's say that I'm going to leverage on digitalization alone. It is from the Ministry of Communication that will provide that we can leverage on to be able to bring reforms into the public sector. Thank you.
I wish you all the best, my sister.
I'm grateful, my sister.
Thank you very much. I will now invite the Honorable Minority Leader, and then
on your CV, your last date of employment as a nurse.
Leader is talking about.
Page 2 of your CV.
Page 2 of my CV says that.
Educational background.
Yes.
Between 2009 and 2011, correct?
Yes, Mr. Please, I was on steady leave with pay.
Now go back to work experience. You have indicated that you worked between 2009 and 2011 as a nursing officer, Presbyterian Hospital, Boko, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So, in other words, you left the nursing profession in 2011, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
You benefited from steady leave with pay, and upon graduation, you left the service, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
The state sponsored your studies, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And after the state has sponsored your studies, you left the system, correct?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't leave my education.
No, Honorable Nominee, I am dealing with what you have stated on your own CV. So take it easy with me and appreciate what I'm saying. In fact, I need you to answer for Hansard.
Yes, please.
Between 2009 to 2011, correct?
What
Bachelor
really,
of Science in Nursing.
Nursing.
Yes.
What really happened was that I went to school in 2009.
Did you take a study leave with pay?
I took a study. It was under the administration of the Presbyterian Hospital.
So what about 2011?
2011, I sponsored myself in the school. Thank you.
So you left the system. How many years did you practice as a nurse? Service experience as a nurse is 11 years, correct?
Yes, please.
You okay or no? Ni ngbefa ni otayega.
Ofane no mi awa colleague on kamami. Kanya mi me.
You no chunu ye jame.
Ofane da bi no mi ya school.
Ni le na ote bokuno ya ote school ye jame, correct?
Ofane ni ngbe middle school na ni ya chano ye new driving. Ngbe new driving lete six form na.
When Honorable Patricia PJ was asking you a question, she conditioned her question. You did not condition your answer. I want to give you an opportunity to clarify. To help you, she said you had publicly stated somewhere that you have done far better than your predecessor. And the predecessor we know is your late husband. In your answer, you succeed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm not done. Your predecessor, who the predecessor you are referring to?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of
PTAG, you
and
mean?
Attorney General. Yes.
And
Yes, please.
your my dear did how many terms?
He also did one term.
So your issue of having done far better is only limited to Pengpa, not your husband, correct?
Yes, please.
Do I take it that it was a political statement? It was a political statement. You didn't really mean it.
It's yes and no.
No, you did, because you said if it were to be so, then we should be having professors to man our ministries, and the health minister should have been a professor. Are you therefore suggesting that you need to only be a professor to have the requisite knowledge. I just wanted to understand what you meant. Honorable Member of Parliament seated right by the nominee, be reminded that the nominee is on oath. And if you will be engaging in this, you will not be helping. No, please, Honorable. He's capable. She's very capable, please. She's very capable. Yes. Yes, proceed. I'm done with the question. I'm saying that you were suggesting that it only takes a professor to be considered for a political office. That's the impression I got.
Not really, but if his statement says that I don't have the requisite experience, I believe that he meant somebody who has the experience, a professor who has the experience in public sector reforms.
Okay. Now, you indicated on your CV that you read LLB at Mount Crest. You were done in 2016. Why didn't you do the bar?
Thank you very much. I have private issues, and came the big blow when my husband passed. So I didn't have that requisite mind to study and go and write the exams. But I'll still go back and write the exams. Thank you.
All right. Try and pursue the bar exam. I'm sure you want to be called to the bar someday.
Thank you very much, Senior, for your...
I'm sure you want to be called to the bar someday.
Yes.
Very well.
Thank you.
Are you really interested in this, your nursing profession at all?
I am. Leader, thank you.
Should there be a change of mind by His Excellency the President to move you to the Ministry of Health, how would you find it conducive to your profession as a nurse?
Thank you very much. I will still work perfectly.
You have been on the countryside, and on this point, let me say that Honorable Ladi, when she in our rural communities, is it really the case in your area?
Yes, please.
So would you encourage more recruitment of nurses in our deprived communities?
Yes, please.
Would you find it disturbing, a situation where, as you stated, there is a need to recruit more nurses, and that nurses have been recruited who are working, saving lives, and for some irregularities, supposedly, these nurses have to be sent home, as in dismissed? Would you find that disturbing? Because anytime a nurse is absent from a community, a life is in danger. You would agree with me on that?
Thank you very much.
I want you to answer without a partisan political hat. And your objectivity and your sincerity will shorten the process. That assured, would you, as And I say so because only yesterday we were in government, and there were things that publicly that, oh, this particular policy, we hold the view that it could be varied, it could be done this way. Considering your peculiar challenge, engage government to terminate the appointment of nurses who were recruited after the elections.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think, respectfully, my senior colleague and leader, I've answered these questions sincerely, that it is about engagement, it's about understanding the issues, it's about we having a collective agreement as to how we help us. Thank you very much.
Now, we obtained some information as part of our background check. And, you know, adverse findings about us or comments about us are like a bitter pill on our tongue. But those are bitter pills for healing. So take it in good faith. The little exercise I'm going to do. Is that okay? Don't be emotional about it. So, and this is what they had to say about you. She is described as competent and capable leader with the ability to mobilize the grassroots. However, some of her constituents perceived her as indecisive, making her susceptible to external influences. This is a perception, but we are also in a perception-driven enterprise in regard to the fact that you are going to lead a public sector reform. What assurances do you have for those?
I believe that when people are interviewed, everybody has something to say. There's a good side of me. They said I'm capable. Thank you.
The next one, we are all sinners. And for the next question, I'm sure all of us, the 275 of us in the chamber, will be considered guilty of this crime. However, you have accused her of not answering their calls. What do you say to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He said we are all sinners, and I pray.
What answers have you for them?
And I want to assure them that I will work on it, and I will now answer their call.
Now, can honorable nominee, sincerely speaking, it is practically difficult to answer all calls. However, we who are managing that communication and are getting swift responses, you know, from the office and getting the problems resolved. At least not 100%, but at least they are always responding to the phone call and relaying and responding. So a clear situation in your area. So try it. It's worked for me because it can be very overwhelming, you know, so that's about it. However, known to be calm, a good listener, polite, respectful, and you relate well with people, especially your chiefs. So I would want you to advantage of those virtues to do your work. Now, there is also an issue that I need to bring to your own referees. You have provided referees, and one of your referees describes you as humble, respectful, but states strongly that you ought to be assertive in your dealings. Your own referees, one of them. It says that you are humble, respectful, but you ought to be assertive in your dealings. What do you say to that?
Thank you very much for all the narration and the compliments. Those who reveal who I am, I'm grateful. Once somebody says something about you, the person wants you to work on it. I will do everything diligently in my power to work on all those, my flaws. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, you have just been nominated for this public sector reform portfolio. By the way, where is your office going to be located? You said you received some briefing and all. Where are you going to have as your office?
Thank you very much. My office is just opposite the Ministry of Finance, an extension of the presidency.
Okay, that story building.
Yeah, thank you.
Very well. Now, should I give you an opportunity to manifesto power? Chairman, yes, may we grant nominee leave to have with her the manifesto of her party?
Granted.
Thank you.
Please, Madam Nominee, please sit, please. Yeah, unless you want to stretch. You're back, so we can. You have it? We should wait, okay. Wait for the manifesto. That's what she just said. Honorable, please speak for the records. Honorable member wanted to know to the mic that you need more time to make your manifesto available.
Please wait.
This document that has been...
No, please.
So take us to the provision in this we can do some other exercise so that you can patiently take your time. Is that okay? Should we proceed so that you can take your time and check it later?
Yes, please.
Okay. Were you involved in the manifesto enactment? In the process of enacting your party's manifesto, were you part of the process? Yes, no?
No.
Chairman, that will be all for the nominee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But it's fine.
Mr. Chairman,
I want to follow up on a question leader asked you about if you should lose your work, you'll be sad. And you said yes. Now, let me ask you the same question in another way. If you lose, that the proper process was not followed for you, would you still be sad?
yeah, that we had issues at the public services because of political interference and political influences. We have favoritism. We have people that we've employed that are not supposed to be employed. So if, for instance, I was employed in a way that I'm not supposed to, I will not be sad, because that amount to corruption. And
at this juncture, thank you very much. Thank you very much. At this juncture, I think that we have exhausted all the questions, on the floor this morning. That in good faith, I yielded to you. But if next time you surprise me by playing number 7, at this juncture, I will go on to mention the names of friends and family who joined you this morning. Naba Abugiri Cletus. Then P. Thomas Moore, the third, Chairman of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs and Council of State. Number 4 is NDC Upper East Regional Chairman, Alhaji Mumuni Naba. Mr. Prince Atan Idrisu, Tempani Constituency Chairman, Madam Telma Esiama, Chief Director, Public Sector Secretariat. Fazia Yakubu, Upper East Regional Woman. 9th person is Honorable Dominic Azimba Azuma with his wife, the former MP for Garu Constituency. Alhaji Osman, Accra Bisa Chief. Dr. Kennedy Aton, brother of the nominee. And the last not the least, Mr. Mark Aku Dugu. Thank you for coming to support the nominee. Nominee, congratulations again, and you are discharged. You will hear from the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.